trying to find a good picture of something that would be a picture that would look like what I do. Because some people are like, oh, you don't do automated service, or, you don't just sit in the truck and do shit. And I'm like, no, I don't. Yeah,
all right.
It's good conversation to have while I'm flipping through my phone, fucking around.
Yeah, well, welcome to Ducking Reality. And this week we're talking to Darren, who has been... Well, first I want to talk about how you're a cowboy, because you dress like you're one of the only people I know that every day has your Wranglers, your boots, and your hat on.
My mother told me when I was 18, when I got the job, she said, we got skin cancer in the family. You make sure you wear a fedora like your father. My father's fedora was a 2-inch covered with buttons. And so I got it's a Stetson crushable felt Boy Scout issue fedora. It was kind of dorky looking. And she goes, you make sure you wear that every goddamn day. So that grew into a Stetson and Resistol and whatever else.
Because your dad wears a Stetson too. And does he wear it all the time too?
Yeah.
Like you do?
All the time. He must have 19 hats.
I saw him one day at breakfast and I didn't recognize him until he got his hat. Like I was like, hey, that guy looks slightly familiar. Yeah. And then Sandy was like, oh, that's Darren's dad. And I was like, oh, and then he walked by me again with his hat on. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's Darren's dad.
Yeah, Santa Claus.
But so you have been a garbage man for 25 years?
Yeah, since I was 18. I will be 44.
Nice.
So, yeah, 25 years.
So when you started, it was like old school.
It wasn't old school. We were doing some of that over-the-shoulder barrel crap.
Like when the guys used to ride on the back of the truck.
Yeah, and actually this year they cut all the steps off rear loaders nationwide because they got tired of guys getting their foot run over. Because the last one cost us $4 million. So,
holy shit.
Yeah, that's a big thing to go nationwide and say, hey, we're done with steps on the back of rear loaders. So they cut and did a torch, and they cut all the steps off of the back of rear loaders. So you're not supposed to see guys standing on the back of rear loaders anymore, because those guys can be bounced off. Right. And they get thrown, and I'll turn that damn phone off. They get thrown off. And it's someone said to me once, there's like, garbage men are like the fifth down from whatever, from a dangerous job or something. Like oil rig operators, obviously.
The most dangerous.
Most dangerous. There's other jobs above us. But most garbage men get, mutilated from most shit. So the last guy, unfortunately, I saw the picture. He took his belt off. He fell off the truck, and his whole leg got ran over, and he took his belt off and tied a tourniquet and called the, fire department to show up. And unfortunately, business-wise, you're going to think about it like that's the $5 million gig for the garbage company. Right. So they were like, this has happened so many times in the last 20 years, not to mention the 50, 100 years before that. Cut all the steps off. These guys don't need to be standing in the back of the truck. They can certainly jump out of the truck, run to the back. It sucks, but it's costing them too much money.
Yeah. Well, I remember growing up, and we had 3 garbage guys.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy that drove the truck, and then the 2 guys in the back that were hitting each side of the street as they came down.
Yeah.
And now it's one guy with one truck, and some of it is automated, or do you guys...
it depends on what you got going on. I mean, the area I work in, let's just take, for instance, Danville. It's a planned out city. And I don't work that area, but I dealt with it. When I first got hired, I was doing cart delivery. So they gave me keys to a flatbed, and they said, drop garbage cans, swap out sizes, shit like that. So I was doing everything. And there are routes that the guy's just plowing away. Like I told you before, maybe 700 homes, maybe 1,100 homes. That's 5 seconds a can. There's no cars parked in the street. Boom, boom, boom. 4, 5, 6 seconds a can. He just blasts through it. And then on the other side of it, as he's blasting out of Blackhawk or Danville or, whatever the hell he's doing, he's he passes by a rear loader, commercial rear loader, and what he's doing is popping into the Black Hawk Museum area and popping 2-yard dumpsters that you might have in your parking lot. Maybe you don't have garbage cans.
Right.
And so he's backing in, grabbing 2-yard dumpsters, but there involves a guy extra that's dumping the dumpsters, and then he leaves. Another commercial rear loader shows up, picks up your recycle box. Your grass bins might not be a lot, so maybe the manager or the driver will have to pull up in a side loader, walk back 100 feet, grab your grass bins full of pizza boxes and sludge, dump them, and he leaves them in the street because he's not really supposed to walk back and grab them, but he's, okay, cool, I'll grab them. So
he's good at his job.
It's just, Danville's a really great idea about it because it was a planned out city, but originally it was a ranch area. So Black Hawk was sold for a few $100 million from a couple of ranchers to make Black Hawk. But originally it was just cattle property. So we have hard to service routes, which is me.
Okay.
Per se. I don't do that actual route, but there are hard to service streets where the truck just can't get in there. And if you're willing to pay $200 extra per billing cycle, you have me.
Oh.
And we're backing a quarter mile up, or pulling up on your driveway, and some rich guy's bitching about, I don't like tire tracks. I'm like, fuck you. I don't, unless you, figure it out. But we do stuff like that. So my main route is Orinda in the hills, Lafayette, and Walnut Creek up in the hills. So
do you guys work the way like postmen do, where you have to like bid on routes? Like, how does it work? Or like, do you guys get
union? It's a union. So we bid on routes, and I was 18 when I got my job. And you asked me before how I got my job. Being in the Boy Scouts, I always was talking. It was goofy because I was always talking to parents and my friends, and I was always interested in. I was just always talking. Obviously, because we're talking right now. But one day I was looking for this guy, this buddy of mine, Curtis Ashcraft. And I rolled up his house, and he wasn't home. And I had a pickup truck, old 82 green Ford, wood bumper. If anyone listens to this and knows me, they'll know what I'm talking about. But I was looking for him, and I mentioned that I had a crappy little job down at the docks working for Commodore Cruises. Didn't like it very much, and I mentioned to his mother, who I call Mrs. Ashcraft, because that's what you called everyone, Mrs. or Mr. And she goes, no, you have to come over. And there's a place that, I can put you in. I'm like, oh, okay, Mrs. Ashcraft. And being the 18-year-old sexist idiot at the time, thinking like, well, my buddy's mom is obviously a secretary at the company. Maybe I can go over there and do something different. She turned out to be the district vice president of Browning Ferris Industries, Western Seaboard, as far as I know. And she basically sight unseen was like, you're hired.
Right.
So I did cart delivery for 3 years. Through a corporate company, 2 corporate companies, to a point that I was talking to operations managers at 20 years old. And they were like, what do we need to order? And I was like, $4.6 million worth of carts, garbage cans, carts. And people were like, well, okay, we'll just order that. And I was like, all right, good. And I think about it years later going, I did what? And it was just, it was stupid shit like that. But I got my garbage route because I bid on it. They bid it because I was on vacation, because they knew I was going to be on vacation. They didn't want me to have it. They didn't want to have an issue. Obviously, garbage industry is very heavy Hispanic. So they didn't want to have an issue with a white boy having a garbage route. And this is something that's 20 years ago, right. So no one can get in any trouble. But they bid it when I was on vacation. I was at a summer camp, Boy Scout summer camp, because I was a scout leader for a long time. And they bid it during that, and 6 garbage men were like, that's Can I say fucking bullshit?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
They said it was fucking bullshit. So 6 garbage men put my name in 6 different times on the bid sheet. And there were 75 guys. And they looked at it and they said, well, this is a different contract. This is a different contract. And these guys have letters and these guys have accidents. And then between me and the other guy, they said, well, he punched in 5 minutes late one day. And I said, that's bullshit. He's got 7 kids, give it to him. And they're like, nope, I have to give it to you.
Oh, wow.
So after that guy I know, Juanito, he was like, whatever, I don't care. But I got on Route 860. We call it borough routes, hard to service routes. And I've been doing the same route for, I got hired November 97, and he was training me on my route the day the Twin Towers fell, September 11, 2001. So now it's been 21 years.
Yeah.
Long fucking time.
So do you know most of the people on your route, or no? Because
I do.
Yeah.
When we had 180 homes where I was blasting away, it was 8-hour days. I was able to bullshit with people. Nowadays, it's 400 cans. I just don't have time to shoot shit. There's certain people I know, but it is really cool to see, a banner on the front of some of those rich people who got the money. They put a banner on the front, twins, yay!
Right.
And then 13 years later, you're standing, you're dumping a can, and these twins are standing in a street corner waiting for the school bus because Orinda, Lafayette, Danville, they still have school buses, not around here. And they're like, oh, hey, Darren, what's going on? I'm like, who the fuck? Oh, son of a bitch. It's been that long time. So you get that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Is it like you're just at this point now, though, you guys just dump trash, right? So you're not like, I feel like back in the day when the guys were like physically dumping trash barrels, some of the stuff that you must have seen, or like, you know what I mean? You're dumping all their liquor bottles or all like their porn.
Oh, I got all the dirt. You're asking if I got the dirt.
Yeah, like, do you not have that as much now when you're just stabbing cans?
I still see the stuff. There have been a few times where we got, I will not mention streets, where you dump, like Mama's Lexus. It's not even a Lexus nowadays, Mercedes, Tesla. But Mama's Tesla's gone. I'm like, it's been gone for 2 weeks. And somebody got sex dolls and booze bottles and beer bottles and all sorts of shit in a can. And the guy's just standing in the driveway with a $10 bill. Like, shut up. I'm like, it's cool. Whatever. Dump all the shit you want. No, you see it. You see some of the stuff during, I went through the 07, 06, 07 recession, and garbage dumped out by 40%.
Oh, wow.
Which means an 8-yard dumpster in your parking lot here went from all the way packed full to half full because people weren't able to buy a couch or a chair or whatever. They were just like, pay rent, pay utilities, go to work, come back. And then suddenly it was like mom and dad that owned a home. Mom was like, hey, motherfucker, it's time to get off your ass. It's great you can work from home, but now you're going to clean that fucking garage. So suddenly, after about 2 months of having nothing in garbage cans, suddenly we had engine blocks, paint, crap, 2x4s. The entire backyard was sandwiched in a garbage can, and people were just like, yeah, we just need to get rid of all this junk. And just recently, toilet paper.
Oh.
Loads of toilet paper. Paper towels, toilet papers, tissue paper.
Like that's not even used?
That crap that everyone bought at Costco during the pandemic are now being thrown out. And I'm like, I will look at the toilet paper and it's if it's water damage, I'm like, oh, that's gross. But I'm like, that's 4-pack of toilet paper. That's all right. Take that fucker home. What the hell?
I can't believe people would like throw out perfectly good stuff like that.
They forgot. They forgot exactly why it was. They forget about what the money they had. 07, 08 happened, 06, 07, I guess it's 07, 08. 07, 08 happened so fast that the rich people that were rich had to foreclose on their homes in Lake Tahoe, the Bahamas, Miami, shit like that, to keep their house in Danville and Orinda to make it seem like we're okay.
Right.
And they just paid off the lease to their Mercedes and just called it quits. Now, once that was done, who knows what they were thinking, because suddenly it was like, okay, we'll just start throwing it shit. It goes in these 10 or 12 year rifts where suddenly we'll see people just throwing brand new shit out. When my wife and I first got involved, I had couches. Literally, I was staring at this couch for 20 minutes. I had that couch. I had 2 of them. They were beautiful.
Right.
Cleaned them up, found them in the garbage. Probably on the cheap, $400, high $600 couch. They were in the garbage.
Right.
Because they had a stain on them. So being a garbage man, I'm like, don't touch that. I come up after work. I grab that damn thing, Febreze the shit out of it, do this, this, and this. And I brought it home. Yeah. Because I could, at the time, buy it, but it's couch. Right. To me, I'm like, might as well just stab one on the side of the driveway. Now, when we did get involved and we were buying furniture, yeah, I sold, I think Marie would look at that and probably correct me, but it's like 11 couches. I sold 11 couches at a garage sale, and I'm talking $5 couches, and everyone bought them.
Wow.
I delivered 2. Yeah. I just rather deliver them in Alameda than have to take them to work. So.
But I mean, that's awesome. Because a lot of people have found like garbage finds, you know what I mean? Like this. So to be like the front line of that's actually kind of cool. Like the furniture, or like what's the most valuable thing you've found in the trash? Do you?
What people throw away, I would say that, between garbage and what I know and what I've seen, and I won't say garbage necessarily wasn't at work, but we were, because of what I do for a living, I was at I think it was the Salvation Army, or the hell that damn thing is on Park Street. Goodwill. And I walked in, and she was dicking around playing with dishes or something like that. And I was like, whatever. And we looked, and there was a coffee table, $40, about the same size as this coffee table. It was about 3.5 feet by 1.5 feet. I looked at it, and I'm like, my grandmother had that coffee table. It's not a coffee table. It's a flip-out sewing machine from 1890.
Oh, shit.
But it's listed for $40. So I bought that $40, and I still have it in my house. Because I'm like, I know that's worth more money. I found flat screens that were nothing wrong with them. 80-inch, 60-inch.
Holy shit.
People were like, well, the next one came up, and it was much more fancier, so we're going to throw this one out. And they'll literally throw it on the street, like on its side. And I'm like, that's cool. I'll take that home.
Yeah.
Driftwood furniture, which is kind of a big thing.
Yep.
In the harbor towns. Parts, copper. I'm not trading in copper, but I'm like, I find copper fittings. I'm like, I live in a Victorian home. I'm going to need some of that shit. Right. So some of those things that about, you grab and stab. And galvanized fittings, Marie's shop. There's a lot of pipe shelving. So I was able to, not the flanges, those were expensive, but I was able to find some piping and some fittings, just take the edge off. But people don't realize in plumbing, it's like a piece of pipe is, a galvanized piece of pipe for your gas line is $105. It's ridiculous.
Right. And people are just throwing that out on the side of the road.
They're like, I'm done with it. Throw it out on the side of the house. Done.
Oh my Lord. What's the thing that like comes to mind as the craziest thing that you've found?
There's been so much stinky stuff. I always like telling a story. And if anyone ever understands this, but I don't run a rear loader. I don't run a side loader. I'm on a shoe packer. So a shoe packer is like taking your fist and running it down towards your knee, and it just does that and it packs 5 tons. I noticed I was picking up Martinez, and at the time it was illegal. They got rid of the route, but I was picking up recycled grass garbage. You can't mix
Okay.
because we're federally subsidized. But they were having me do that. If they saw this, they would be like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but I noticed it was out in Alameda Valley, and there was a dead deer. Probably got hit by the road and it crawled up on the hillside. And I was like, oh, shit. It's halfway on the hill, so being who I am, I just got my gloves on and I dragged it out in the field. And there's only 2 ranchers up there, and leave it in the field. Next week, it's going to be gone. Just Mother Nature takes care of itself.
Right.
So I dumped the cans and went to top, bottom, blah, blah, blah. Finished up. The entire week is 112 degrees. So I go up the same little bridge and drive away, and I go up there and I notice the grass can. It's 112 degrees out for a week. And when you dump these plastic grass cans, if they got something in them that's hot, it folds in half. The can kind of folds when you
like
tip
almost
it.
like melts a little.
Yeah, it's melting. So I'm like, oh, what the hell is that? It's probably grass or something. But by the time we dumped it in, the guy went, oh, organics. He hustled in the dead deer carcass that was a bloated belly into the grass bin. And by the time I dumped it in the hopper in a shoe packer is about your head height. You ain't getting in there to drag that stupid shit out. You're just going to leave it in there. So what I ended up doing is doing 40 homes, and I just piled shit on top. You don't pack it. You pile grass and recycle and garbage, all sorts of shit on top of it. And then there's the shoe packer packs through, but you have a packing panel that crushes everything. And I won't touch that because there's a bloated belly in there. So it was about 30 homes that I was able to kind of just throw over the doors and then finally push it. And then when I'm sorry for everyone's listening, but I was driving down Highway 4 and I was a hydraulic pump on, which you don't usually do. And I put center console on and I was packing, and there was black oozing shit coming out of the hopper, spraying on the side of the truck down Highway 4. And people were like, oh my God, someone actually called and complained. And I was like, it just kept packing and packing and packing. By the time I hit the first stop, yellow jackets were on that truck. Yellow jackets, maggots. Just, I saw someone from England on a Garbage Man website that they're called dustmen.
Okay.
Just different version of the same story. But he goes, they call them garbage man worms or something like that. I was like, we call those maggots. But they were just disgustingly pouring out all sorts of shit. Our transfer station, we had spotters. I parked my truck and our garbage trucks on one yard. Our transfer stations where we dump. And from there, that they transfer garbage up to landfill up off of Bailey. So it's name forgets me, but they ended up finding dead body parts in the dump 20 years ago. Granted, 25 years ago, and I knew the guys. They're just beautiful men. They're just wonderful guys. They're just great guys, but they're old, retired Teamster members. And all they do is spot. They work 25 hours a week. And someone broke into jars of babies. And they were like, sign of the cross, walking out like, fuck this shit.
Wow.
No punching out. They just walk off the property. Like, what the hell? So the FBI, Contra Costa County Sheriff, just everything in the world was hovering above it. And it turns out just someone at an abortion clinic was like, no, this is cool, whatever, we can blame it on the janitor. And the janitor is put in a compactor bin, which he just pushes red and blue and black bags in. He don't know nothing. Right. He just presses the red button and it compacts. Problem is you get a road dump, it comes out like that.
Wow.
So my company, BFI at the time, probably made an abortion clinic file bankruptcy because We sued them for $100 million or $15 million. I wouldn't say $100 million. It seems stupid. It was like $15 million because they had to take all 100 tons of garbage out of the transfer station and get rid of it as medical waste. So instead of dumping it at the landfill for whatever it is a ton, they have to get rid of and they have to incinerate it.
Because all of that trash is now contaminated
It's contaminated.
Wow.
So that's some crazy shit.
So wait, a spotter guy just stands there and he's really just looking for
He's just looking for paint cans.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
refrigerators, mattresses.
I was going to say his job's only to look for bodies.
No. He's just like, he's looking, smart people would put a mattress on the bottom of your pickup truck, pile the garbage on top. Well, again, it's $105 to get rid of that garbage. Okay, no problem. He dumps it on the ground. The spotter goes, let me see your receipt. There's a mattress. Mattress $50 is considered medical waste.
Oh, a mattress is medical waste?
Medical waste. So they nail you on that. They nail you on refrigerators. They nail you on microwaves, electronic waste. So if you have electronic waste that you have a cleanup day that's electronic waste,
yep,
they put it out there, put it on your curb, do exactly what they tell you. When they don't pick it up, you call them back. You make sure you get a supervisor because they have to pick it up federally.
Okay.
They have to pick it up. When they don't pick up 15 microwaves and you're like, I guess we just throw it in the garbage dumpster. No. The dumpster gets overfilled. They charge you extra. So you make damn sure you call in to the garbage company and say, no, you forgot this. You fucked up. Show up. So there's shit like that. I mean, Sandy goes through the same thing. If your grass bin is too full, your grass bin's not supposed to have wrapped organic crap in black bags.
Yeah, black bags can't go in there.
Are not organic. If it's the green or paper or whatever, it's different. So
yeah. Do people treat you differently because you're when they know that you're a garbage man? Is there still like a stigma to being a garbage man? Do you even like being called a garbage man?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
I know,
like, you're a waste technician, disposal artist or something. Someone said artist one time. I was like, who the fuck are you talking to?
Yeah. Well, I remember when
no idea what the hell I'm talking about.
Gas station attendants were first called.
I've had older, I will say older than I am, and I'm 44. I will be 44, but I've had people that are older than me that will look at me and go, oh, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, well, I'm a garbage man. And you can tell in their eyes, like, Jesus, you've worked so much. And they probably know it's not the physical work anymore. You don't pack a barrel. No one's packing a barrel anymore. It's just the mental shit. And I talked to guys the last 25 years. It's mental. In retirement, most of the guys, even if my ex-wife's probably listening, it doesn't matter. Most of the guys that retire drink themselves to death. They retire, they sit on a couch, and they do nothing. That's why I have 5 or 6 side jobs after work. Right. I do. They sit on the couch. We had a guy retire 5 years ago, Nico. He's a fucking awesome, wonderful guy. He got mad one time and went postal one time, but they just put him off in a month. He retired, he sat on his couch, and 3 months later he was dead.
What do you think it is about like the mental?
I think one day someone that's got way more education than me will look at this situation and figure out neurological shit in your brain and go, waking up at 3:30 in the morning kind of really fucks with your shit. And these guys are really fucked up over 35 years. And we'll probably look at it and go, maybe we should do this, this, and this. Because I do see that. Because a lot of us do drink. And I've seen a lot of guys drink a lot. And you have to worry about that shit. But the industry I'm in is, it's been more 7 to 10 years. there was one guy that showed up on our yard. He worked for us a few years, and he showed up drunk on the yard. And he hadn't punched in. And I just was a kid. And guys were like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And he goes, I'm punching in. And it was obviously was loaded. And they beat the holy shit out of him. They beat him, not in the face, but they beat him down, made sure they took his car keys, threw him next to his car, and they went punched into work 5 minutes late. And they got all letters for punching in late because they're not going to willing to give that guy up. But then they called the union and said, pick this guy up. And that was 20 years ago. The union actually showed up in a personal car, dragged this guy kicking and screaming in his trunk of someone's car,
oh, shit.
And drove him to a 90-day program, which they called into the company. And this guy's going to be off for 90 days. And that guy is still working 25 years later now.
Well, that's good because it's drinking is mostly an addiction.
Obviously.
And so if you have a problem, you need to take care of. And from what I understand from the garbage men that I have known over the years, not that there's a lot, but a few, is that it is like a brotherhood. Yeah. Like you guys watch out for each other.
Yeah. Especially on the same yard. You deal with that.
You've been working with the same guys for 20 years. And it's a lot of, is it a lot of guys that start as young as you do? So you guys grow up together?
Now, when I started, a lot of guys were starting at 18, 20 years old. Nowadays, there's a whole bunch of guys that are starting at like 30, like their 17th job, and they're like, oh, sweet shit. Thank God. Now I can get this cake job at the garbage company and push a joystick, like we were talking earlier. And that's my argument where, and if Susan Hurl ever listened to this, she would laugh because she knows what I'm talking about, but there's a difference between a garbage man and a driver.
Right.
A garbage man has a roll of duct tape and baling wire on his dashboard, and he's got 6 sets of gloves on his dashboard heating up his patties on a grill, as we call them, because your gloves get wet. Drivers sit there and go, my mirror got bent. I'm going to shut it down and have them tow me. And the company shows up and tows the garbage truck for $600, and they go back and they fix the thing 25 minutes later, and he fires it back up and he goes back out there. Whereas my guys on the hard to service routes up in hills, Orinda, Lafayette, Walnut Creek, Danville, down in Tossar Valley, when you get a broken mirror, you grab baling wire, you grab a stick, whatever you have to do, tie it on.
Right.
Because to drive back and get back out there, you're talking 2 hours. These guys are already working 12 hours.
Is that your shift? Is it usually a 12-hour day?
No, not necessarily. If everything goes right on a Monday, I could be punched out in 9 hours, 10 hours. Tuesday, 12 hours. Wednesday, 9. Thursday, 9.
So does it depend more on how many houses you have to hit on that day? Or your route?
It has to do with the certain house. If someone looks it up and goes, what the fuck are you talking about, Darren? Look at my road. M-Y road. Forget the rest of the houses. 21 and 69 My Road. Look that up. It goes from 453 of sea level, 453 feet of sea level to 1,600 feet of sea level at 69 My Road. It's a quarter mile.
Wow.
So you leave your truck and drive, and you pop the brakes, and you jump out and tip the can. Most of the garbage falls on the ground because it's falling out of the hopper because you're pointed so far up the hill, and you keep doing it. And when you get to the top at 69, depending on the construction, you're able to turn around, hopefully, and go down because there's no way you're going to back down. But I never thought it was that interesting, but it was like 10 years ago, Waste Management used to pick up the recycling grass on our contract. What we had was Waste Management stepped out. My company stepped in and said, we're going to do everything. So I have a great guy is my recycle guy. He deals with all the recycle cans. He's my mirror. And when he first showed up, he drove a tractor trailer for a milk company. Now you're giving him a 2-axle tiny little garbage truck and trying, okay, by the way, back up 300 yards up this guy's driveway and tip this guy's little 20-gallon garbage can in and make sure the lid's closed, and then drive down and follow me. And he's looking at me like, that truck doesn't fit the driveway. I'm like, I don't really give a shit.
Right, make it work.
Well, we call a supervisor. I'm like, have you noticed there's no supervisors around? No one gives a fuck. So let's just do this, do that. What happens if I hit that pine tree? I'm like, hit it, don't hit it. I ain't gonna say shit. So we just keep going, and it took Gary. I won't fuck up your name, but it took Gary a couple of years before he figured it out, and he was pretty fluid about it. He's a great guy, but it's pretty fucked up. They're dumping shit on guys, and every garbage company does it. They're dumping it like, oh, you just do it. And the guy leaves an arm out, and he's talking to supervisor and shit like that. You leave an arm out, and you drive down the street. That's 7 cars that you just took out. And I knew a kid that did that, Arthur. I'll definitely located on that one. But it's just shit like that,
Yeah, the damage you can do with a garbage truck
huge amount of damage. I mean, the physical body damage guys do, it's like garbage men are like 5th in line, I think, 3rd or 5th, whatever the hell it is. But it's usually chopped off fingers. Most of us run over toes, mashed, broken arms, ripped shoulder blades, shit like that. There's some minor injuries that everyone gets in every job, but it's just crazy town shit.
Have you ever been, I mean, obviously I can see that you've never lost a limb, but have you ever been hurt badly on the job?
Yes. I was young. I was 20. They wouldn't let me go to the Christmas party because I was not 21 yet. But I jumped off a flatbed and I just landed, being a dipshit. I, landed and I felt a pinch on my left side, and it didn't feel right. And then after about an hour, I was doing cart deliveries, so I loading carts, and I slumped over my steering wheel because I felt like I broke a rib. And then my supervisor said, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't want to be pussy because I'm brand new, and these guys are looking at me like, this shit. So I just kept working. So I worked for another week. It happened on Tuesday, Wednesday. I worked all the way through it. Thursday, I finally got a doctor's note. I went out, saw my doctor. They scanned me, and I had a collapsed lung.
Oh, shit.
It was a pneumothorax. And the jump caused my inner muscles to pinch the inside of my lung. It caused a hole in the glass of my lung. So I was in the hospital for 3 days. My supervisor called me and said, you're a fucking idiot. You're smoking the cigars. You're fucking stupid. It's all your fault. Yeah, whatever. And by the time we were done, I was back to work. But that was probably the biggest thing. I know I fractured my ankle, which is minor in thinking about it. I know I fractured my wrist. I know I broke 2 of my fingers, which I found out a month ago. I didn't realize it. I talked to Marie about that, before. She was like, oh, you might have broken some fingers. And then 2 months ago, I looked at it and they're like, yeah, you broke your fingers. I'm like, what did you do? Did you put them in a cast? I'm like, I used duct tape and I taped them to my middle finger and I just kept going. They're like, that's stupid. I'm like, what am I going to do? Not work?
Right.
And that's, some people are like, and that's the whole reference back towards garbage man and driver. A garbage man keeps working. A driver finds an excuse to stop, go back to the yard, have someone else fix his truck. I don't know. Garbage men always work in the rain.
Yeah.
And then we have rain gear or we don't. And we have a garbage bag or a tarp over our head. We have a shitty cowboy hat like I have. And we just do it because we just keep doing it. Because we know 40 years down the line, we're going to retire that hat. We're going to grab a brand new Stetson and we're going to
enjoy your
not
life.
do that.
Yeah.
Or, mow a lawn in the spring, whatever.
Hopefully make it past your 3-month retired mark.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because that is the curse.
That's why I never knew that.
Curse. It's a huge curse. And what it is garbage men that are working, it's just them working constantly. And then when they get off of work, they're like, shit, you feel like a meth addict. You're like, I need to go mow this person's lawn and do this and do that and do this and do that. Add that plus 40 years. People can't possibly realize plus 40 years.
Right.
You're like, oh no, I'll change jobs 3, 4, 5, 10 times. No, you won't. If you got out of high school and you do this, you're going to be moving so much that at the end of 40 years, you get off that job, find another job. My father worked from he was born in 40, so he got his job at Pacific Bell, 1958, plus 46 fucking years. He got off, he stumbled down my stairs a little bit. He goes, oh, my knees are fucked up. And then he went up and worked for the Bank of Alameda, zipping around canceled checks in a bank car for 7 years and handling Elks Lodge, bartending, keg bullshit. And then when he got done with that, he said, I didn't retire. I'm just calling it quits. And then he just kept working. COVID slows him down a little bit, which I can understand anyone, but you have to keep moving. I mean, some of these old fuckers, they sit down and are like, I'm done. You're done with your 80.
Yeah.
You're done when you're 75. Keep moving. Whether it's a walk a day, just whatever the fuck it is, just whatever the fuck, if you're 56 years old, take a walk a day, just keep fucking moving. Because I've seen these guys, they vapor lock, they die, they just stupid shit. It's a curse that I don't talk about. And all the guys that may or may not, probably won't look at this because we don't do Facebook. They know what the curse is. They don't talk about it because it happens so often. And it's to every job. I mean, you get done, you sit down, and you watch TV. What happens? Your heart rate goes up.
Yeah.
Fucking plug a valve, boom, you're dead. You got to do something.
Yeah. I mean, bodies in motion stay in motion, or
Fuck
things
yeah.
in motion. So
Fuck yeah.
yeah, I mean, when I deal with chronic pain. And so when that one's not your whiskey.
No, I know. It's not my whiskey. I was trying not to. It's not my whiskey.
You just kind of looked at the glass like, huh? I can get you more
vodka.
whiskey.
It's not vodka.
Like when I first started to like do my transition from just sitting in the house in pain all the time to like moving, I was like, all right, I'm going to be in pain no matter what. So like I can be in pain on my couch, or I can be in my pain like getting relationships and friendships and experiences, and like not just sitting watching the same fucking 4 TV shows all the time.
Yeah.
And on some days it's like, oh, I wish I could just sit on my couch. But on those days that I sit on my couch for more than a few hours, I'm like, oh, now my body hurts even more in different ways.
Yeah. No, when you called me today and you reminded me about the situation, I was like, fuck, 4 o'clock, bam, fuck, I gotta go. Yesterday I did 3 jobs in the rain to get them above par. Ended up the fireside, made sure I took care of the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Drank there way too much.
Don't we all?
And by the time I was done, woke up Sunday, and suddenly I'm like, Boom. I got nothing. So I'm watching movies and stuff, dicking around the house, but as soon as you called me, I'm like, fuck yes. Shower, boom, let's go. You know, whatever the fuck you got going on, let's just, even just a couple of drinks in the kitchen, who gives a fuck?
Right.
Because I got to go. And it's just a thing where some people go home and they're like, Friday at 5, I'm done. Bye. And at 5 p.m. on Sunday, they're like, I guess I should buy a sandwich for next week or whatever. I guess maybe I should do that. And they feel like shit on Monday. Tank up with water on Sunday, folks. It's a gallon of water. A gallon of water. Just tank up with it. Just do it, because that saves you on Monday. And you can play your same bullshit game, but come on. You're going to play Friday night, Saturday night. We all do.
Right.
But it comes Sunday about now. Right now for us, it's Sunday at 5 or 6. It's time to take a gallon of water. You're going to go to the bar. That's cool. But you remind yourself that you're waking up tomorrow at 9, 8, 7, 6. For me, it's 3:30, whatever. Yeah, you shake your head. Yeah. You shake your head. It's a sexy time to wake up at 3:30 in the morning.
I only see 3:30 when I'm going to bed. I go to bed at 3:30.
Stop possibly bartending.
Yeah,
just suggestion.
Well, yeah, I see 3:30 a lot, but it's just because I'm usually getting ready for bed.
I had guys
just getting home.
I had guys for years go, oh, you'll never get used to this time, this and that, and they just tell me bullshit stories or stories. And I'm like, yeah, what time do you have to get up and take a piss? And he goes, every week for 25 years, I take a piss at 3:10 a.m., which is exactly the same time my alarm goes off at 3:10 a.m. And psychological, whatever the hell you want to say it, but it doesn't matter if you're off for 6 weeks or whatever. You're going to wake up, your body's physically going, boom. You have to wake up, take a leak. You're not going to work, whatever, right. Saturday, Sunday, you go back to sleep. At 6 a.m., I get up and take another piss. Yeah, it's just what you do.
Right.
And it's just, that's why I always said, it's like psychologically, there's going to be someone one day and be like, this is pretty fucked up. You probably should do this, or this with these guys because they're driving between public schools and picking up garbage cans and shit. And they're waking up at 3:30 in the morning and doing this shit. It's just really dangerous. And one day it's going to happen. But the only time it happens is when I would say that when someone dies, something changes, but it's corporate.
Right.
It doesn't happen like that. When enough times people horribly mutilate themselves, does a company go, oh shit, let's fix this? So my company just had a guy run over his entire fucking leg. The driver, and you know what, I'm not even going to quote some of this shit. I don't think it's real because the corporate company gave it to me. He was the helper on the back of the rear loader was the one that called in the cops. It was like, oh my God, because he fell off and the guy didn't stop. Now, I don't know it's the driver's fault.
Right.
You know what? There's so many things going on in the garbage truck. You're dealing with children, balls, shit going on. I ain't blaming no one, and I absolutely not. I couldn't possibly. I do it. But the guy's got a picture of him online holding a belt with his entire leg crushed. And it's just a hamburger meat. They immediately said, let's cut all the steps off the back of rear loaders. And so our company, cut all the steps. So we don't have guys standing on rear loaders anymore. They're in the cab. They have to jump out and run back. Yeah. Except for the company I just saw on Facebook that has a Republic Waste yard on the other side of the seaboard or on the other side of the Mississippi River, that has a guy standing on a step. It must be corporate wide. Why is a guy posting it? It was 2 days ago. It's bullshit. So they play the game.
That's got to be frustrating. So there's not like a standard for, and I guess there wouldn't be because it's all different companies. It's all state.
When it's Republic Waste or Waste Management or Ecology, it's all a certain amount of companies, ACI, Alameda, has 5 companies. Don't quote me, but it's been a while. But I think there's like 3 to 5 companies under ACI. They don't say ACI. Republic Waste, Richmond Disposal. There was a chunk of San Francisco. Now we just bought Oliver Ecology for San Francisco. So now that's Republic Waste.
Okay.
So people see that and like, oh, that's impossible. No, we're Ecology. You just got bought out.
Oh.
And Concord Disposal, family owned. Old school guys. Know a guy, Mike. I won't say his last name. I'll get him in trouble because they do listen. Mike went over there, and he was a great guy. Rough around the edges, good guy. But like Republic Waste, Fremont, chunks of different Contra Costa, Alameda County, San Mateo, shit like that, and you won't notice it. Won't necessarily be a blue garbage truck with a red star. It'd just be the garbage company, but you see the red star in the logo.
Oh.
And then Waste Management's very old school, green garbage trucks. They own everything. They try to.
Is it just like they were just a bunch of private small companies that eventually just got up into bigger
Absolutely.
ones? And that's
in the old days, be specific, Oakland Scavenger, off of Davis and Doolittle. They were publicly owned, so the drivers could buy stock.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was the 60s, 70s, and everyone owned stock. It was like Waste Management started, and people were like, cool. The problem is your old Italian companies. And there's no difference between an old Italian company or old Hispanic company or old Hispanic family to an old Italian family. But there's no difference. When you go to sell or buy, you do it together. So they all did together in the 60s and 70s, and Waste Management's ass fell out of them. They went bankrupt because everyone that was Italian sold out of the company and had stock. The bottom fell out of the company. They almost went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
So Waste Management did their thing. They became more privately owned. Boom, boom, boom. But it was a going joke. It was like, who owns Waste Management Oakland? But really is Waste Management national. So Republic Waste, I think I own 2 shares. Guys do it. But they spend $150 million buying out their own stock to make sure that they own their own stock so they can be a privately owned company. Waste Management's a bit bigger, but they're big enough that they can deal with shit. So they're personally insured, whereas my company finally got insured by someone else.
Okay.
So if we got a car accident, like, buy us a BMW. No, we're going to fix your BMW. You call the insurance company, we'll fix the BMW, but shit like that. Because I've been in Alameda forever, and it was across from my grandmother's house, my father's mother's house. And the guys were jackhammering up sidewalks and shit like that, just fucking around and fixing a sidewalk or some shit. And they probably the 15th time they'd done it in 100 years. And then suddenly there was a body.
Oh, shit.
And they were like, holy shit. APD shows up. They're fucking calling shit. And they're like, I don't know. And then one of the officers was like, slow down. The person did die. They got buried properly. In a pair of leather moccasins or a leather skirt or whatever. It was a Native American.
Oh, wow.
That was buried on the island
Probably
200 years before. And it's just like you shear off the land, you build a house, you shear off the land again, you build a sidewalk, you build a street, and eventually, then so they called someone, and Native Americans, I think it's up north, showed up, and they went, yeah, sure enough, that's what it is. And they removed the remains, and they put it somewhere proper. But that was 100 feet away from my grandmother's house. 50 feet away from my buddy's house, where he rents. And my joke, since we're recording, my joke is people wonder how long I've been here. My mother and father grew up 3 blocks away from each other, but they didn't know each other.
Oh, that's so cute.
1950s.
But 3 blocks?
Why wouldn't you not know each other in the 50s? In the 50s, so people may understand, in the 50s, my grandfather on Broadway, if someone had to park in front of his house because Broadway was flooded, because the seawall was at Otis Drive, there was no South Shore.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Bayfront Island Bridge, I think might have existed, and I asked my dad about that one, but they would park in front of my grandfather's house and say, hey, Wes, can I park in front of your house on a public street? And he would say, of course, what's the problem? Do you have a flat tire? Why do you have to park in front of my house on a public street? And the guy would say, I can't get to my house. I have to put my waders on. I don't have my waders. My wife's at the house cooking dinner. I can't get to my house. Oh, I'll have my boys, the 4 boys. So it was 3. It was Ken, my father, Ron, and Bob, and then Pete. I can get into Pete later, but there was 4 brothers. Well, we'll just get the canoe, and we'll put you in the canoe. My boys can canoe you around the corner and get you, a block and a half around. But you would ask to park your car in front of someone else's house because that's inappropriate. Why would you have 2 cars?
Well, back then.
So shit like that.
Yeah.
But so the neighborhood was always like that. So when they found that body, my father was like, oh God, Christ, what the hell? They should call a priest. I'm like, no, they're going to call a Native American reservation up north, and they're going to come down and pick it up. But yeah, I reiterate, I'm backtracking here. But my parents lived 3-4 blocks away from each other, and they met on a blind date when they were 20.
Wow.
And my father said, I didn't like her very much. And said, no. And the second date, I asked him once, I said, why, Jesus Christ, you guys bitch and complain at each other for 25, 30 years, just tremendously. Why? And he goes, well, I had a job and she had a job. We were boomers. You had to get married. You had to have children. Why would you not get married? I was like, yeah, but Dad. And he goes, different generation. You bought a house. You got married. You had children. I was like, all right, fuck it, whatever, And he's like, yeah, And then we bought a shithole house. And people back then, you just gave them a lot of furniture. None of this fucking crap where I want this pair of dishes or shit like that. People gave you a lot of furniture. And so my house is full of furniture for decades. Until when I was in my 20s, when my father finally said, hey, your mother and I had been separated for many years, a few years. He goes, I'm going to move back with your mom. I was like, hey, can I get rid of the dining room table? No, it's worth money. I talked to my mother. She goes, that's from Mexico. It's some piece of shit, crappy. This is from China. This is from Japan. I'm like, well, if it's from Japan, I'm going to keep it because it's probably good shit. And if it's from Mexico, it's probably great shit. She goes, well, this is from New Jersey. I'm like, well, fucking get rid of that damn thing. But she would just go, yeah, no, it's junk. Just furniture. It looks nice.
Right.
But it wasn't something you kept. It's because my father wanted to keep it. My mother was like, no, let's just buy something nice. So we did that through the years. And I think Marie and I finally got rid of the dining room table like 7 years ago.
And it had been the same dining room table.
And my brother was like, oh, no, that was an antique. I flipped it upside down, made in Mexico. I was like...
But it was made in Mexico in the 70s, so I guess technically it's an antique.
It's still an antique. It's still an antique, but it was falling apart, and it was great. There was nothing wrong with it. It worked great for 40 years.
Right. But after 40
But goddamn, that thing looks ugly as shit. You just played around and you moved forward. But yeah, my mother and father, they blind date in the 60s. Father was born at 40. Mother was probably born at 42 or 43, 1943. Married in 65, something like that. And they bought the place I live in now in 1967. And they lived in the dining room because the heat didn't work.
Oh.
Because he didn't buy a house back then that everything worked perfectly. He just bought a house. And he goes, and then the next day, Mom fixed that room up. And the next day, Dad went to work and she fixed something else. She wasn't horribly baby boomer, but she worked for Kaiser Aluminum as one of his 50 secretaries for 20 years. So she took an early retirement, and that's just how it was. I think they probably killed her because she worked there 15, 20 years, and she was retired from there from 50 years or 40 years. So she made more money from them in retirement than she ever did actually working for them.
Good for her.
But, yeah. But, and then Grandma was on Versailles. That's a point of contention. Versailles Avenue. She lived on there, is where my father ended up staying at his mother-in-law's house after my mother's stroke. And then his mother was always on Broadway, 3 blocks away. It was just always something you go to Grandma's house and get some jam, or go to Grandma's house and mow a lawn. Mm-hmm. It's just something you could do.
That's awesome. So when you grew up here, the Coast Guard was like full swing, right?
Coast Guard, U.S. Navy. Yeah, we had about 40,000 people more on the island.
I can't even imagine what that was like.
16 bars. I don't know how many bars, but there was 10 more bars on Webster Street, and there was probably 10 more on Park Street. 40,000 more employees per se in Alameda. My joke was, someone asked me, it's like, what was the difference? I'm like, well, F-16s, Tomcats used to take off over the island every 5 seconds. And people were brand new. They would wake up. I'm like, what was that? I never woke up because it was always something. Iraq 1, Iraq 2, it was just something always happened. Most of what would happen, I always put in this. In 97, I just graduated, but 3 months before graduation, Clinton shut down the bases. On one weekend, the Naval Air Station was open, and I had 37 friends, classmates, whatever, in a classroom. And come Monday, 12.
Holy shit.
And it was like, what the fuck is going on? Government grants, shit like that weren't around. It was just like, oh, oops. They took the Enterprise, Abraham Lincoln, the whole battle fleet, fill them full of Winnebagos, Toyota Camrys, pickup trucks, F-16s, whatever the hell, I'm sorry, F-16, I have no idea. Fighter jets, right, strapped next to your dad's Winnebago and your Toyota Camry, and they shipped them off to where the fuck you're going. So you went from a $2,000 sailors to 7,000 people on board a boat, ship them off to Virginia.
Wow.
The Enterprise pulled out and ran aground. And they had to get dude dredging in there to dredge them out because it was 8,000 people heavy.
Wow.
So 20 feet heavy, to go across the Atlantic. And it was kind of a trip for us because personally, I knew all those people. You know, they left and they were told to leave over the weekend.
Right.
Like, we're leaving right now. If you don't want it, leave it in a fucking place. And the Naval Air Station, which was guarded, like if I walked too close and I had my ID, you were stopped. Guy with a fully automatic weapon walked out and goes, "What the hell are you doing here? You smoking weed? Fuck you. Get back in here." Suddenly it was, nope, you're done. And everything was open. So before, if I drove my truck too fast past the gate that wasn't technically on our base, they could run out with a fucking M16. The gate was left open, swinging in the wind. So we went four-wheel driving, and it took APD a year before they were like, okay, let's send an officer out there because there was some homeless and stuff, you know, whatever. But there was some shit going on out there, like asbestos, all sorts of shit. And it's only taken to this year to figure out that mess, you know, dig up the mess and build condos. They're doing it right now.
Right. Oh, I know. Driving over there where like the base used to be, like on some parts of it, it's super creepy because it's like a little abandoned town. And then in the other parts of it, it's like, it feels like,
they're using the abandoned town as Section 8.
Yeah, I was going to say the other side of it is...
And eventually, 10 years from now, when all those are fancy condos, you're going to be like, oh, we don't have Section 8 housing. This is all fucked up. I don't know what the fuck we do. Maybe you ought to stop fucking putting Section 8 housing in the most shittiest fucking asbestos-ridden shits in the...
Yeah, no, those apartments over there look awful. Yeah. Like, they look really run down and, like you said earlier, slapped together... Government housing that's not really thought of very well. No.
And it was good enough for 60s, 70s. I mean, Naval Air Station, I mean, people don't realize Alameda was 7 miles long and 1.5 miles wide. When it was first founded, it was only 3.5 miles long. It was not an island. But let's call it an island. It was only 1/4 mile wide.
That is wild.
The estuary between Park Street, Fruitvale Avenue, Park Street, Bayfront Island, it's a man-made canal that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It was a swamp.
Oh, really?
It was never an island. It's a man-made island. So when you take that away and you minus Naval Air Station, everything South Shore, right. All the houses next to South Shore, eliminated. Otis Drive was a seawall. The seawall continued all the way through Lagoon, across from South Shore. On the inside of the wall, continues all the way down. Alameda Hospital was built as a waterfront hospital. How far is the waterfront from the hospital?
Now it's at least 1/4 mile, if not more.
So you go all the way down to Upper Washington, Lower Washington. Upper Washington Park was landfill, one of the first landfills.
So is that why they call like by Grand and like Grand, was it Grand and Encinal, or that area is the Gold Coast?
Gold Coast was original. And that was rich people. Then was like, hey, look at that little slough of land. Let's put some rich people, and they had ferries come in 1900s, and ferrying the rich people back and forth. It's until 1906 when they were like, holy shit, earthquake happened, we need to fucking use these ferries, and then they lost it 10 years later. And they were just like, yeah, there's crap. The 89 earthquake happened. They pulled ferries that were bought from the Mississippi River and said, hey, let's get them here. And it took them goddamn 3 weeks to pull them out of the canal, Panama Canal, to get them here. Like, we need to restart ferries. This is fucking stupid. And that's when ferries started after the 89 earthquake, because the Bay Bridge shut down. The tubes, shit like that was just not, they weren't broken. They were just like, it took them 3 weeks to figure out if things were correct.
Oh, yeah. Make sure everything's still safe.
Yeah.
So wait, before 89, you guys didn't have ferry service to like San Francisco or?
I don't recall it.
Oh, wow.
But, if it was there, it was
Minimal.
not a lot.
Yeah.
It was very minimal. But the 89 earthquake shut down the Bay Bridge, and that was it. Golden Gate Bridge was a joke.
Is it
my neighbor next door, he was a bit of an ass, but he was stuck in San Francisco. He just finally, after 3 days, you got to picture that one in 89, no internet. After 3 days, he called his wife, hey, I'm at the office. Obviously, I'm living in my office. I will get home. Okay, thank you. I'm sure you're fine. She never thought once that he was dead. Just, okay. He ended up walking all the way to the Golden Gate Bridge, across the Golden Gate Bridge, and all the way down this side of the Bay Area.
Wow.
And just asked some people if you could stay on the front lawn, get a blanket or something like that. And ended up walking up. My father and him never got along, but when he rolled up, he's like, 3-piece suit and wearing for 3 weeks.
Wow.
And my father was like, do you need a hose off or something? It's like, no, Ken, I need a drink. He goes, I'll get you a beer.
Mm.
So
times and people were so much simpler back then with the like neighborly.
Before the internet, before social media, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Which you would think social media would help more people be kinder because you get you more insight and like access to more people. But instead, it just has the opposite effect.
Before social media, I always thought it was clever. I knew more, as a kid, I knew more than neighbors. It took me having a very Hispanic woman marry me to suddenly go, no, we're having a garage sale. I'm like, we don't have a garage sale. I can throw this shit out. And she was like, we're having a garage sale because I want to meet the neighbors. What the fuck are you talking about? And sure enough, you sell a toy that's $5 to a kid that's 50 cents, blah, blah, blah. The mom, the dad shows up. Oh, who are you? And I'm like, one of them, they were like, I should show up parties at your house, Darren. I'm like, really? She lives down the street from me. Like, I didn't know this then. She had babies. And I was like, and after a while, it's like, it's doing what I do as a garbage man, fucking smile. I don't give a shit what the fuck you do for a living. You see someone and they're, you see the same person, the same house, whatever, FedEx, UPS, I don't care if you're an office employee, whatever the fuck you're walking from a building, from the ferry building, whatever the fuck whatever the hell you're doing, you see this person, smile and wave.
Yeah.
I smiled and waved for 25 fucking years. And I got customers that are walking out giving me 2 bills. 2 fucking solid bills going, thank you, Darren, so much for your efforts. I don't pick up any extras on their account. I just show up every fucking week, pick up their garbage can. There's no extra bullshit. But I wave and say hello 10 times a year. What the fuck does that take?
Nothing.
And it must make you feel so much better simply cracking a smile and waving.
Or at least give a head nod and
just
acknowledge the
Christ.
person. Yeah.
Just waving. I get mad. I get pissed at people. I get it. I'm a mad person. Stupid shit. But holy fuck. If you're doing a route, it doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, a garbage man, an attorney, a plumber, you're doing a route. At some point in time, you're going to pass that coffee guy. You're going to pass that dumpster that you pass by, and there's that old guy that's always sitting there smoking a cigarette. Instead of walking by him, fucking say hello. It just makes you feel good. And then in the end, your comeuppance will come up. I did that for years, and one day I was up in 108. I used to go up to Pinecrest, hooker right ahead, fucking 14 kids in my truck. It was fucking ridiculous. I want to shoot myself. But I pulled up a gas station like stainless steel CB antennas broke 14 fluorescent lights up on the gas station. I had glass falling everywhere. I was like, gas. And the guy goes, hey, Darren, what's going on? I must have waved hello to that guy in Orinda 30, 40 times. But he was a landscaper in Orinda. He just randomly lives out in Escalon, Oakdale, whatever the hell. He goes, hey, what's going on? Sure caused a lot of damage there. The guy comes out, he goes, hey, it broke out 14 fluorescent lights. He goes, hey, fluorescent lights? There's a Lowe's across the street. I'll go over there. I'm like, hey, don't have to do that. He goes, I'll go over there and pay for the rest. I'm going to take pictures. He goes, I'll buy the fluorescent lights. I drove off. I had 10, 12, 14 kids in my truck. I drive up the mountain. I saw him 2 Mondays later, and he goes, yeah, I bought him a whole pack of fluorescent lights. Even put them in there. My wife was in the store watching TV. It's the Central Valley. You have TV. I said hello to the guy 14 times.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
That's amazing. But you're doing a huge service for the people that you serve. Like, you're getting rid of the stuff no one else wants to deal with. I mean, think about the fights that happen in houses just about who takes the trash out to the barrel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to deal with garbage. And like,
I think one time I had, and this is right when I started doing garbage, the actual garbage route, but I picked up Barber Road. Barber Road. And it's Orinda. And I was rolling, and it's 180 cans a day, so it's 8-hour day. Super easy. And I roll, and this guy was running out, and it was a diaper genie. Tell you how old I am, because the diaper genie just came out. So he's running out, and the diaper genie, the fucking bag just gave out. It was like 15 bags of green baby shit. Don't ask me why God made baby shit green. Rolls out. His shit just goes out. He's got a banner on the side of the house that says, twins, girls and all this shit. All that shit hit the ground over his manicured lawns at Rinda home. And he's like, throws his bags to the ground, pissed off, and his boxers walks back to the house, closes the door. So I'm dumping can on the right, and I dump his can. I dumped the can on my left, and I go to the end. It was a quick cul-de-sac, and I just started going out. Before I left, my pay it forward. I fucking jumped out. I was 23. And I fucking ran up there, grabbed a bag, fucking boom, 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 just picked up what I saw. And it was just baby shit everywhere. Fucking threw it in a bag. Fucking dumped it. Boom, done. Hour goes by. This guy drives through the entire fucking community. The entire goddamn community looking for me. He had no money because some rich people just don't have cash. Right. I get that. But it was late Christmas, and he had 3 jelly bean jars. You get Costco, you give to people. He had 3 of them left, and he gave all 3 of them to me. Mm-mm. And he found me like 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours later. He found me, and he was like, dude, I had to look at my security system, like, what happened to all the green baby shit? And I'm like, I saw that bullshit happen. He goes, whatever. That guy saw me 20 years later at Starbucks in Orinda, and he goes, hey, thank you.
Wow.
That's a fucking job. That's a fucking job. Fuck garbage, man. That's any job.
Yeah.
You're a plumber. You do a job. You're friendly with people. You're doing things. You remember them. You send a Christmas card. You say hello, whatever. You're doing landscaping. You're doing a gardening job. It doesn't mean you're fucking bartending. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. You're just hello. Like, what the fuck does it take to say hello?
It doesn't. It's just leading with kindness.
Like, what the fuck? It's great. Hello works so much more. You say hello, and some of the service neighborhoods, the neighborhoods I service, you say hello enough times, that's your neighborhood flooding. And I've had this the last 2 weeks in some of the flooding. Hello gets your neighbor rolling out going, shit, I got 15 rotten bags of sand in the backyard. I'll give them to you. Because you said hello to that guy 4 times in 10 years. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, that is cool. It's just acknowledging people. It's like I might kind of on what you were saying about the guys that did our garbage growing up. I remember my dad being like, if there was extra stuff that he would put out, and he'd be like, "Well, just buy the guys a case of beer too," and like. Or a few months ago when I was home and he was saying something about like, oh, I haven't even seen the garbage guys. Because they live in a small neighborhood, so it's probably the same guys too. And, we used to know our mailman and you knew, you know what I mean? Like, but it just seems like now we're so far removed from that you don't see those guys.
People get removed. And per se, quote unquote, garbage men get removed from that as well.
Yeah.
And I have a whole bunch of drivers. Drivers turn around and go, shit's broken. I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to move on and write it up. Garbage men you have canceled service for a year. We'll pick you up because I don't want to have that fucking tag show up on Friday. On Friday, I want to come over to the fireside. I want to go to Pacheco Boulevard, Grudense. You want to do something like that. You don't have a miss tag. But you just want to go. Now, if it's a dickhead that's 3 years out of service, that's a different story. Keys Court. You just want to do something like that. But you want to just keep moving. You want to do as much as you possibly can. I mean, I had an old guy in my route. He's a 20-gallon can. He's a tip, and he's like, comes out and smokes a cigarette with me. He looks like 112 years old. He's probably 81 years old. And he's like, that's nanny. He was talking about this dishwasher. I'm like, I take the dishwasher for free. And he goes, oh, no. What am I, old? Yeah. You hell old.
Right.
So he disappears one day. I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. I walked up his driveway, grabbed the dishwasher, the other dishwasher, the 14 cans, cleared out the entire side of his house, threw it, fucking tipped them all in the hopper, figured it out, dumped it all, crammed it all in the truck, and drove off. He never noticed it. That's okay because he doesn't need to notice it. He never noticed it because he's not able to walk up the side of the driveway. There's only one person to notice that.
Right.
That's me. That makes me feel good. It's just something. No one's ever going to see it. No one's ever going to tip me on that shit. Who gives a flying fuck? It's just hello. A wave of a finger.
Yeah. So. And then you get valuable assistance.
Yeah.
Or at least the opportunity for it. Because if that guy's never waved to you, then you're not going to help him. You're not going to even notice that stuff.
Until he comes out and goes, oh my God. I had a customer one time and he was complete jackass. It's like, hey, take this can. 14-foot 2x4 stuck out of it. I'm like, no. And I moved on. And he called the supervisor, called management, and he was like, oh, I got it. Yeah, still not doing it. And then I better not state because the guys actually look at Facebook and shit. But his house burned to the ground.
Oh, shit.
Thank God. Got the cats, kids, wife, everyone's out. They're fine. And he rolls up one time and goes, I can't get garbage service. I'm like, just call the service guy. I can't call, there's some bullshit. I'm like, hey. It's fucking 7 bags extra. I'm like, I took them. Boom. Next can. No, he's running his house. And I got 3rd can, 4th can, 5th can. He's walking up the street. I'm like, hey. He goes, hey, you took my service. And, when I give you a tip, I'm like, tips on the 2nd can. Tips on the 3rd can. 5th can up the street? Hook me at Christmas time. I goes, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like, give me a Christmas card.
Right.
He goes, who the fuck does that? I'm like, about 312 people in Christmas time, give me a Christmas card. And most people listen to this going, no one gives a Christmas card anymore. I'm like, I only do 400 cans a day. 400 Monday, Tuesday 412, Wednesday low 300, Thursday 412, Friday 350. I think it's 5,000-ish. cans in a week that I'm dumping, I get a whole bunch of Christmas cards, which is sweet.
That is sweet.
It's kind of nice. You know, it's someone that actually went like, fuck the $5 bill. Here's a Christmas card.
Or even better, put the $5 in a Christmas card.
You know, they do that too. But I mean, it's so nice to have something extra, you know, like you get like sometimes I get a $5 bill. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I put it on the dashboard. I'm like, that's great. What did they write on a Christmas card? $5. Who gives a fuck? What does that buy us? A Starbucks cup of coffee?
I mean, I don't think so.
It does, but you know, you get the idea.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know, who gives a flying fuck? It's just great shit.
Yeah. So there's a good tip we'll end this with. Make sure you give your garbage man a Christmas card.
How about a wave?
Or acknowledgement.
A wave. Mm-hmm. Hello to your plumber, to your city guy, to your garbage man, to...
I wave and smile at so many people. Like a few of my friends are like, "You're always." I'm like, "Well, if I'm gonna be out in the world, like I'm not gonna go out and be like just a raging cunt. I mean, I am that sometimes, but most of the time, I'm just gonna like try to be like because that person's my bad day is not that person's fault.
Yeah.
So
no,
like,
I would say just wave at everyone your entire life.
Yeah.
Your entire life, wave at everyone, and your comeuppance will always come up in. Because eventually, and I've proven it 3 or 4 times over, someone will come up and I had a flat tire on the highway, 24, blowout. I pull off, go into work at 4 o'clock in the morning. I go, oh shit, I got, you know, AAA, it's just double blowout. It's horrible. Some guy rolls up and goes, hey, Darren, do you need help? All right. I got AAA, man. I appreciate that. He goes, hey, you want a beer? I'm like, I don't need a beer. Drives on. He would help me.
Right.
At 4 o'clock in the fucking morning, and he knew my goddamn name. And then one time I was a garbage truck. Blow out a tire, mountain road. There's no way anyone know me up there. And he rolls up and says, hey, Darren. Hey, what's going on? You know, a bottle of water? Yeah, a bottle of water. Anything else? I'm like, no, I'm cool. His company's coming up. He goes, all right, cool.
That's amazing.
I waved at him 17 times. I waved at that guy 14 times, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I'll clean it in a minute.
I'm getting myself. But you have 14 different times that you could have said hello.
Right.
You could have said something. Like, you're walking down the street. You could nod your head at someone. Like, what the fuck? Like, everyone do that. I don't know about, you know, global peace and shit like that. Just wave hello, nod hello, say hello, shake a hand. Yeah, you know, everyone's worried about COVID. COVID sucks. It's done.
Right.
Who gives a shit anymore? But just fucking do something.
Yeah, I know. I think
I just
that's
put
beautiful.
it that way.
I think that's beautiful. And I think I couldn't agree more with it. I try to make sure, like, for me personally, unless I'm feeling real anxious and I try to make myself small, so I just think that I can, like, flutter through a place without anyone noticing that I'm there.
Yeah.
That I sometimes do. But most of the time when I'm not in that headspace, I'm always trying to acknowledge the people that I see, the people I know, the people I don't know, just even like a wave or a glance or an acknowledgement of some kind. Because I think that can change someone's day.
Yeah, you have to do something. I mean, like, you just have to do something. Like, you can't go through life and do nothing.
Right.
You have to do something. And if that something is hello, holy fuck. Just think of 14 million people saying hello. You just stop World War III. You literally stop World War III by saying hello to 14 million people. Like, what the fuck is the matter? Just say hello. Say stop. Hey, how you doing? Whatever.
Right.
It's fucking awesome.
That is fucking awesome. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to call it for today with Darren, but we'll be back next time. So remember to say hello to your people. Say hello to everybody and find your joy.
And say hello
Yeah.
to everyone.
Thanks, Darren.